Hello, welcome to Club Cook. This week we're just going to cook a very simple tomato sauce because we've all seen these sort of thing. Now even if you buy the supermarket's cheapest, that's going to be 80p or something. You look at the ingredients, you'll probably find water on it. I don't see any point paying the supermarket for water. So we're going to make our own from just a tin of tomatoes. Very cheap, 1 onion, a couple of cloves of garlic, and we'll pop some herbs in as well. So I'm going to start with chopping the onion. When you chop, try not to, you don't want a slippy board. You just get some kitchen roll, it's nice and wet, pop that on your top, push your board down on it, and that's not going to slip. So, I'm going to chop our onion. Now the safest way to chop an onion, I think, is to cut it in half first. Long way, so you've got the root at the bottom and the top at the top. Now, if you can keep that root on while you're chopping it, you'll get far less all the stuff that makes your eyes water and makes you cry. Not totally gone, but much better. Tip off. So flat on the board, cutting down almost to that root end and then across. Keep your fingers out of the way. Now when you get to the end, just chop around that. And then that's all you're throwing away. We do that with the other half. Now if you want to chop it finer, I would get the big knife if you've got one and just chop, 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 chop like that. The finer you chop something, the quicker it will cook. It's a very safe way to chop that too, because your hands are not near the blade. Right. So that's nice and chopped. We'll pop a bit of oil in the pan, just a spoonful of oil. Now heating up. You can actually put onion straight in a pan of cold oil and start cooking it. It won't stick. So we'll just shoot that in there. Yeah. And then we're going to chop the garlic. So 2 cloves of garlic I'm going to use. You could use more. But we're treating this very much as a basic sauce. So there won't be a lot of flavouring in it, just enough. So if you were going to make a chilli with this or a curry or something spicy, you could add more herbs or spices when you use it. So I'm just cutting those in 2. And then you can do this with any size knife, but it's better with a big one. Put the knife flat down there and give it a good bash. And then just chop those up. You could use a garlic crusher if you've got one, but then you've got to wash it up. So I think just chopping it up is good enough. Stir the onion a bit, just until that's started to cook. And then we'll pop the garlic in. cook that for a few minutes, not too high heat. You don't want it to burn or brown. You just want it to soften. I always think after a few minutes, it looks a bit shiny and you get a lovely smell of garlic and onion, quite pungent. So when that's done, it's probably time to put the tomatoes in. It's going to cook again with the tomatoes, so don't worry if you think it's not cooked enough. But there the onions are starting to look quite shiny and slightly see-through, slightly softer. So that's getting there. And now we're going to put the tomatoes in. So 1 tin of chopped tomatoes. Now if you don't get chopped tomatoes, you might have whole tomatoes. Sometimes they're a bit cheaper, so you might have those. If you've got those, just open the tin, drain a bit of the liquid off. Hard to do this on this one because those are chopped. But if those were whole tomatoes, I'd just put my knife in and chop round. Just backwards and forwards. And that'll make a tin of chopped tomatoes. Anyway, so then just pop that all in. A nice sizzle. These silicone spatulas, they're called silicone, are really good. You can put them in a hot pan without it burning. The handle doesn't get hot, and they're slightly bendy, and you can get every little bit out from a pot or a pan or a tin. But I'm just going to rinse that too and get the last of it out. So we've added some water, but that'll all cook off quite quickly. It won't be watery. Give that a little stir. And we'll add some seasonings. A little bit of salt, just a pinch. I'm going to add some black pepper. Nice big pinch. And some I think we'll put some mixed herbs because that goes with everything. So a good teaspoon size of mixed herbs. Now that just needs to cook down for about 10 minutes until it goes just a bit thicker. You can make it as thick as you like, but for pouring on a pasta, you want it sloppy but thick. Okay, so that's nice and cooked now. I'll take that off the heat. Now that's quite lumpy, chunky, which is nice. But I know what children are like, and some adults. Sometimes they don't like lumps in things. So this is an invaluable bit of equipment for me. I love it. It's a hand blender. You can get these for about £6. So it is something else to buy, but really useful. You can make smoothies, you can make sauces, soups, a little bit of baby food. You can do all sorts with it. So you can do this in the pan, but I'd take it off the heat to do that, and just stick it in and give it a good old blend. Now you could do this, make it completely smooth, smooth sauce, or you could just do it a bit and have some lumps and some smooth, as much as you like. The other good thing about these is you could put more veg in there. You could do a tin of carrots or some fresh carrots, some beans, pulses even, like tin beans or chickpeas. You could put in there and blend and no one would know. You'd get a lot more fibre and a lot more flavour in too. So I'm just going to blend that halfway for this one. So it's sort of halfway house. So now we're ready to just drain the pasta and serve that. So I'll just take that to the sink and drain it. So I've drained the pasta and cooked it. I'll just show you something that you probably do at the end of cooking in the pan, just to check it's cooked. So just take one piece and cut through it, and you'll see there that there's no white ring there. If that wasn't quite cooked, there'd be a little white ring in the middle. which is the uncooked pasta, and that's a bit chewy and not very nice. So when it's all the same colour all the way through, that's cooked. So then we'll just pop the sauce on the top. Or you could pop the pasta in the pan and mix it all together, or you could mix it on the plate like that. There we are. It would be really nice to either just plain like this with some cheese on, or you could add, it's nice to add tuna if you've got a tin of tuna, or some chopped ham or sweet corn, or all three. And we'll just top it off with a nice bit of grated cheese. With the cheese, I always buy strong cheddar. I never buy mild cheddar. It costs the same and it tastes more, so you use less, so it is cheaper. There we are. And we'll just do what the chefs do. There we are. It's tomato pasta.